Okay. Only got 20 minutes on this one. I can do it. Okay. The only thing I hate is let's work if it's over here. It'd be so much easier to do it by my hand. All right, so I went too far. Sorry. All right, so remote audits. Let's touch base on that. I know we talked about it a little bit in May. So what does this mean? So 85 to 90% of our work has been being done off-site. One thing we've learned is the importance of technology and to communicate and transmit information during this time. To do that, to make use of our technology and have our information in a format that can be transmitted is important as well. Fortunately, State Board of Accounts already had the technology and procedures in place to do this remote auditing. So if you remember, it's kind of the primary reason for the Gateway monthly and annual uploads. So some of you have experienced this type of audit. We found that it does work well. Okay, so the audit will still begin with communication from the field examiners after being assigned the audit. The required forms will still need to be completed. If you remember, we kind of discussed this last year at the fall conference, these forms in more detail. These forms will be sent to the auditor since you are the fiscal officer of the county. But you should be reaching out to other offices like the treasurer's office when you're talking about internal controls for receipting. They're a big part of that process. So please reach out to them so that we get the entire picture of that process. And have them ready, have these forms ready for when the field examiners arrive. This does help reduce the time to complete the audit, in turn saving you money, always a good thing. Once completed, please hold on to these documents until you receive communication from your field examiner. If you receive these documents and have questions, please contact our office. You may also wish to watch, I'm tongue-tied, our YouTube video on how to complete these forms. Please don't wait until contacted by the field examiner to complete these forms. Communication here is really key. Since our field staff will be remote, this means they will not be visible to the outside offices. Please communicate with the other offices to make sure that they are aware that the audit has started, so they have a chance to prepare. We have heard of some offices where all of a sudden someone's like, hey, I need all this stuff, and they weren't aware an audit was happening. So even if it's just a quick email, hey, State Board of Accounts is here, FYI, just something so that they're aware of our presence. This does help move our audit along smoothly as well, so that the departments are not taken by surprise when contacted by us. So our field examiners, like I said, are working remotely about 85 to 90% of the time. This means they're working from their homes, mostly. We are not sure what this is going to look like in the future right now, honestly. But it's definitely a work in progress. The main communication you will receive from us will be via an email or a phone. This includes your entrance and your exit conferences. We do have other technologies available, such as Microsoft Teams and WebEx, like we're using here. This does allow us to hold video conferences as needed. Please don't hesitate to ask the staff for a video conference. They will be happy to do that for you. It does add a lot to it. It does feel more like they're there when you're doing the video conference. When our field examiners make first contact with you via email or phone, please discuss with them what your COVID-19 protocol is. Example, if your building is closed completely, no one's allowed in, including employees. The building is only open to employees. Auditor's office is only open so many days. I keep them updated as the protocols change. We just want to be very, very respectful to your protocols that you put in place, okay? All right, so while being in person, It's how we're used to getting information. COVID's really kind of made us make adjustments, right? Phone calls are still very much being utilized. And like I said, we're doing the video conferencing with our computers as well. The field examiners will talk to you about the capabilities that your county has to make video calling a part of the audit. Some laptops don't have a camera or don't have a microphone. So if you still want to do a video conference, it might have to be a hybrid where you call in on a phone, but they could do some kind of like WebEx where you could kind of still see each other. It really just depends on what your capability is and what your comfort level is. We're still visiting the audit sites, but this is in a very limited fashion. The in-person sites are mostly reserved for on-site testing. Okay, so if they're going to do a claims test, they may reach out to you ahead of time and say, hey, can you pull these? And then they would come on site to test them. All right, so the State Examiner Directive 2018-1 requires certain documents to be uploaded monthly and annually. These uploads will provide a more efficient and cost-effective audit process. We're working on updating these requirements currently, and we'll let you know as we roll out any changes to this that would need to be addressed by your office, okay? In addition to the monthly and annual files, additional records known as direct request uploads must be uploaded when required by SBOA. So please make sure you're doing this. It will help in the future to have many of those documents needed for audit ahead of time. So what's required for the county auditors to upload monthly and annual? Let's take a look. So I'm not going to read all of this, but board minutes. You know what your board minutes are. I just want to, every month you should be uploading it. These files, I think, could be put together. You can do them separately. It's probably better organization if we do it separately so that we can just pull, here's commissioners, here's council. But what I really want to be here is this is really minutes that have financial activity that's included in your financial statements, okay? Those are the board minutes that we're looking for. So this information on this slide is straight out of our user guide. So it's important to take a look here and see what you need to do. Again, we are in the process of updating and we'll let you know when that changes. 2, funds ledger. This is a report that shows the beginning balance, total receipts, total disbursements, and ending balance of each fund. I just grabbed one and threw it on here so you could see it. It doesn't have to look like this. They look different ways. If you have a computer system and you're not sure what report has this information, check with your software vendor for assistance. An Excel file is preferred if you have computerized records, but it's not required. With COVID-19 forcing the remote auditing a little faster for field examiners along with others, we're starting to really take a look again at those uploaded, those things that are required for upload and what other things might be useful. That's why I'm saying we're updating. So there may be some additional ones in the future. What did I do? I'm going the wrong way. Okay. So annual uploads, you guys have 4 of them. You've got your detail of receipt activity. This should include receipt numbers. You have your detail of disbursement activity. This should include check numbers and vendor payee names. 3 is your current year salary ordinance. This is the salary ordinance for the year you are uploading. For example, if you're uploading 2019 annual uploads, the salary ordinance should be for 2019. Annual vendor history report. This report shows the total amount dispersed to each vendor or payee for the year. These documents are due at the same time that the AFR is submitted.
I have a question.
Yes.
What if you are not balanced with the treasurer for months? Do you go ahead and send in what you have?
Yes. Oh, here, sorry. There are questions that are coming in.
Okay.
I didn't see if they're for CARES or if they're for this.
I think I can read this.
Sorry, we're trying to get that technology. Yes, go ahead and upload what you have at this point. Continue to try and get reconciled. If you do get reconciled, you can update that information. And you can take the one out and put the new one in. But yeah, I mean, don't not do it.
I think this is a CARES one.
Let's wait. We'll do CARES questions since we're on something else here in a few, or maybe after lunch or something. Okay.
Okay, those were both CARES.
They were both CARES. Okay. All right. Sorry, guys. All right. We did not talk about direct requests in May, and maybe we touched on it for a few, but we really didn't have a whole lot of in-depth stuff about it because we were really just rolling it out. So any documents that you must upload in addition to the monthly and annual uploads are called direct request uploads. The submitter will receive an email request requesting the document to upload. So in your case, the submitter will always be the auditor. If you have delegated editing rights to a deputy, they can still upload the file requested, but only the auditor will receive the request. If you have questions about the content or data being requested, email your field examiner assigned to your engagement. Do not reply to the email requesting information. It will go nowhere. If you receive a request for documents, like I said, it will come to you via no reply email. That email will contain a description of the items needed and specific instructions on how to upload them into Gateway monthly annual application. These documents will not go on the public site. They are for our use only for audit purposes. As far as audit documents are concerned, we will ask that you scan and upload most of the supporting documentation we need for your audit. These requests will come through the Gateway direct request email. We do not want records emailed. It's just not secure, okay? This screen right here I just took a screenshot of what it looks like. So when you go into your monthly and annual upload, this will be at the very, very top. You'll see it, okay? And it's this greenish, yellowish box. Looks green here, looks kind of yellowish there. I don't know what color it is. So one of those. I do want to say, if your field examiner does request a document that you think you've already uploaded, discuss this with them. Sometimes it may not be, they may need more information with it, or they simply just didn't see it. I mean, there's a lot of files on there. So just talk to them. If you can provide anything in Excel, that's really great. And again, it's not required, but that is preferred. So, if at any time the document that they're requesting from you is way too large, like in size or quantity, please discuss this with them. And together you guys can come up with some sort of solution. One solution could be you just pulling the documents, putting them in a separate room. The field examiner could arrive and review them then on site. The field examiner can also spend part of the day scanning documents for review remotely at a later time if needed. But we need to make sure that we're doing a time saver on both sides. So please acknowledge the requests as soon as you get them, all right? So that we know that you've gotten it. It doesn't mean that you have to provide these documents immediately, but it does allow us to know that you have received it. If you could give an estimated time frame in which you think you'll be able to provide the request, this will also be helpful to help us plan our time accordingly. Our field examiners do receive multiple assignments at one time. And so we do have stuff to keep them busy for a while, but we need to make it as timely as possible. It's important that we know that you've received the request, that you're working on it, because with us not being in the same vicinity, we will not know if you don't tell us. I mean, if we're not there, we're not going to know. So also, if you're having trouble getting the documents, let us know that too. Our field examiners will work with you for a solution. Again, it's just really just communicate. Communicate with your field staff as much as possible. All right. So these things, learning what works, communicating, adjusting, these are super important as we're moving forward in this new remote environment. As we've begun working in the remote environment, it may seem less efficient in some ways, but as we continue this process, we will find out what works and what doesn't. And we're going to make improvements as we move forward. We already have done some of that. So please communicate with us the good and the bad about this process so that improvements can be made. Or we can explain the certain need for procedures. Otherwise, we may not know if something isn't working well or if it's burdensome. So adjusting on each side of the audit will help us move forward. I can tell you with utmost certainty that our field examiners sincerely miss being on site with you, and they do look forward to being on site with you again. When the main communication is through email, sometimes it's hard to read people's tone. I think we're all guilty of that. So please don't know that they're not trying to be upset or demanding if it comes, if it kind of reads that way. Please understand it's not. It's probably they've got 5 audits and they're just sending out emails to everybody. It's not meant to be that way at all. If you do have a webcam, we do encourage you to talk to your field examiner through a video conferencing thing. It's just really a great way to interact if at all possible. Is there any questions? Well, we're doing fast.
Not on this. And I missed because I was reading, this on mine too, but the follow-up on when we're not balanced with the treasurer, they said this is our regular monthly statements that she's talking about sending in when they're not balanced.
Do they ever balance? Like, do they balance them later, or are we saying we're not balanced ever?
It says they're not balanced.
I don't know how to respond. Why don't you reach out to us and we'll maybe get a better understanding of what's happening.
You want the CARES one?
Do you want to is that what you into your time?
No, it's not even 11 yet. We got another one.
We do from Jennifer.
The virtual audit has been very demanding, time consuming. The field examiners have sent us numerous emails requesting information. Before we can respond, they have sent us more requests. What is our recourse when we cannot keep up with all of their requests? Will we be written up due to the delays?
Okay. So
in responding, okay.
I would say, first of all, have a conversation with your field examiners, okay? We understand, I was out in the field, Lori was out in the field. We understand when we're out there that you have a job to do, and part of your job is helping us and getting us what we need, but it's not the only part, okay? So you need to work with them. They should be very, very understanding and should work with you to make this happen, okay? So that it works with you, not against you. If it's not, you can wait and see if there's an audit manager or something that you want to speak to, if there's some sort of miscommunication happening there. Are you going to be written up? If you don't give it to us, there's a possibility it's going to be there. But just be in communication. Hey, I've got it. Like right now, if somebody had sent you a direct request and you're sitting in Fort Wayne, just communicate. I'm at conference. It's going to be next week before I can get to that. Okay, so as long as you're communicating with us, you're going to be okay. There's not going to be a write-up there.
Is there any way the examiners could submit most of their questions at one time rather than bombarding us with emails?
I would love to tell you yes, but I can't do that because you have to remember there are so many different facets to the audit. They're not looking at all of that at one time. It's too much. So they pick certain areas. So, they come in and maybe if we came into an audit, I'd give Lori receipts and I'm working on disbursements, but cash hasn't been touched. And there's all these other little aspects of the audit that haven't been looked at. So they don't know necessarily what they need throughout the whole audit at the beginning, there are main things that we know we'll need. We know we need bank reconcilements. We know that we need board minutes. Those are the things we're having you upload, the things that we know without a doubt we're gonna need. These are really the things that aren't uploaded, that we don't know until we get in there that we're gonna need. So maybe work with them, and maybe they can give you, instead of giving you one item at a time, because a lot of times we do ask for multiple items at one time. Maybe they can give you at the end of the week, here's what I think I'm gonna need for next week, or just, again, communication. All right, it's a learning process as we're all moving forward.
Want to go to the CARES fund?
All right, if it's not gonna eat into your time.
Okay.
Okay.
So Paul Joyce alluded to maybe commissioners' approval of further appropriations. It is just county council appropriation, approval of appropriations, or both. Who's approving the appropriations?
All right, so who does normally approve your appropriations? Who does your budget? What he was telling you is those are already set up. Your processes are already set up. So your council is the one that does your appropriations.
Even if we move total remainder of CARES Act to county general by ordinance, can't we also use this out of county general for next year's budget also? Maybe even for budget year 2022
Yes.
if needed.
Yes. That was the whole reason we wanted to provide flexibility. So yes, that is it. Ooh,